Okay, let's try that. I hope that hasn't been muted for very long, but we seem to be having a couple of audio issues tonight. So, but it looks like we might have it all sorted. Let's just see how we go anyway. So, thank you for tuning in. So, let's have a look at our first question because this has been the big struggle. I get a lot of questions and it's a bit hard to sift through them all, but going to do our best to get through them. But the questions we've got tonight. So, first question tonight is from Lover More, is what we're going to call this person because I like to protect the names of people who email in because they want to do it anonymously and they don't want to broadcast around the world. So as we've got it here tonight, question number one, if my boyfriend doesn't do the same things for me the way I do things for him, does it mean that he, not she, doesn't like me anymore, or she just expresses herself in a different way? That's supposed to be he. Having a little bit of a typo area there anyway. So yes, this has come through quite often in a lot of sessions I have. People think that if they're doing one thing for someone, they expect to have the other person do the same thing, and it's not always the case because we have different. Each and every one of us has a different way of well, you heard about the love languages and so forth. So we all have different things we like to do, like having done for us. We also like to do different things for some people. There are some couples that we work with that they like surprises, where their partner doesn't like surprises. There are some people that I've worked with that they like to be touched. They like to feel that they're loved and cared for by actually having someone, you know, you know, be touchy feely sort of thing. Where other people are like, don't touch me, okay? Just leave that behind. You don't need to touch me all the time, okay? So it can get quite a bit of a dilemma. Hey Isabel, thank you very much for joining us. If you guys are there's a couple of people jumping on now, by all means drop in and say hello while you're at it. And just tackling the first question of the night. And if you guys have got some questions or even some feedback to the questions of what you think they should do, by all means feel free to drop them in the comments. And hope you can hear me, Isabel, and everyone else that's joining us, because we did have some microphone issues. For some reason it was saying the mic was muted, but I'm here. So thanks for joining us by all means. Anyway, as I was saying, the question before we'll fling that up there. If my boyfriend, and there's a spelling error here because I typed this out earlier and I didn't proofread it before I put it up. If my boyfriend doesn't do the same things for me the way I do things for him, does it mean that he doesn't like me, or he just expresses his love in a different way? And that's from Lover More. So that's what we're going to call him, protect the innocence. So, and thanks for watching on the replay if you're watching this in the replay as well. Now, as I said before, we all have our different ways of showing we care for people. And I suppose the biggest thing that it comes down to a lot of the times is a bit of communication. Now, the main reason being is because we do have different ways of showing how we feel for each other and how we want to express our love for each other, and also how we want to be loved. Because at the end of the day, a lot of the times there is, sounds perfect. Thank you very much, Isabel. Thank you. Yeah, as I was saying before, some people like to be touched. Some people don't. Some people like, was it public displays of affection? And some were like, do not kiss me or do not be all over me in public. So it's the same thing when it comes to doing things in a relationship, like surprises and stuff like that. I know a couple of people that I've worked with over the years, one loves giving surprises, they wrap presents up and everything else, and, don't want to, it's all secret, and they throw, surprise birthday parties for their partner and everything else. Well, the other one doesn't like surprises whatsoever, feels extremely comfortable, doesn't want everyone to make a big fuss about them. And sometimes it actually gets quite heated and turns into a couple of arguments. So you've got to be careful what you do, and you've also got to also say to yourself, you've got to say to them, be expressive with them with what you want to actually do and um, what you prefer to have done for you. It's like the love languages. There are different love languages, how people want to express their love for each other. This is the same thing. So there are some people, as I said, with the surprises and so forth. So what you really would need to do, love them more, is one, you need to sit down and find out. And I mean, there's more to this email than that. They've been together for quite a while. I think it's been about a year and a half, 2 years they've been there, and it keeps popping up a bit of an issue. So what I would suggest is sit down. Well, you don't even have to sit down. Don't. I'll tell you that. Don't go. We need to have a talk. No, 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 no. We don't want to scare them off. What you need to do, if you maybe go for a walk or you're sitting in front of the TV, the two of you, and just casually sitting there watching. You're not watching anything heavy or anything. Or you go for a drive. Driving is always the best thing because you're not looking at the person directly and saying, well, I need to chat. You can just have a bit of a conversation with them and go from there, sort of thing. So what I usually would suggest is have a chat and say, look, what makes you feel loved? And if they go, what? Especially with guys, like, what do you mean? What do you mean makes me feel? Well, like, I know you don't like to be kissed in public, or you don't like this, or you don't like that. What do you like? Now, this is something that should be said not really 1 or 2 years into it, but because we're at this situation, maybe it's never come up. So it's better to bring it up now and get it sorted out. And the question, and to really sort of say to them, what is it you love? Do you like your hair being played with? Do you like, maybe, just some people like to, just be touched around the back of the neck, or, just they got their hand on the back and they're just sort of, rubbing them on the back. Do they like gifts? Do they like, what is it that makes them feel love? Is it the little things they do, in the past, with partners, things like, they're coming home from work and they've had a really crap day. So maybe pouring them their favorite drink. So when they walk in the door, you go, here, babe, or here, hubby, or whatever, here's your favorite drink. Go and sit down and have a rest. Or run them a bath. Maybe things like running a bath and having it so they're coming home soon and you're like, oh, they're due home soon, and doing that. But you need to find out what it is. Don't just do it and then they go, oh, a bath? Why? Well, I just thought, you thought. So that's where you need to really express. And you need to express exactly the same way what you want in a relationship and what you are going to feel that that, I'll get my words right in a minute. Express what it is that you love having done for you and how you want things done and how, what makes you feel loved and feel good about yourself, sort of thing. They can be sometimes, some people like flowers being bought for them. Others, it could be something not as romantic, and it might be, something technical. It could be, lights. As you can see, the new set at the back there, a couple of colored lights going on in the background, and someone special bought those for me. So, it gets to a point where, there are little things that people like that just make them feel a little bit better. But you really need to find out what it is. And also, before you have the conversation, what is it that you like? By means, just, because they're going to say, oh, I don't know, what do you like? And you might go, well, I like when we go out and just pick a flower for me or something like that. It doesn't mean you have to do that every time. But if you're aware of what your other half likes, it makes it easier. Not thinking, oh, I should do something special, but I have no idea what I'm going to do for her. Well, then maybe you need to figure out and ask them what it is they like, but also what you like, because as I said, it's a two-way street. You can't expect them, they can't expect you to do it for them all the time, and then you not do it, vice versa. is wrong with my mouth? It's really coming out as well. So yeah, so it does become a struggle, but it is something that needs to be expressed. You need to really sort of say that earlier on and get those, get that mentioned sort of things. So, hey, Izzy, how are you? Yes. Shouldn't it just happen naturally? If you need to ask, have you really connected it? Well, that is true as well. It is and it isn't. Look, there are people that don't really know, and there are some people that have issues with expressing themselves because they've been burnt in the past, and they don't know how to express themselves because they feel. I've had one client a couple of years ago, a couple of years ago, who they'd only been together 6 months, and she thought that he was being a bit standoffish. When I sat down and had to him, he had just been in 2 relationships over the last 7 years where if he expressed himself, he was shot down. So yeah, they hadn't really connected, but they hadn't really connected because um, the one partner just really wasn't able to express himself because he was afraid that that might happen again. So when we brought him back in, and I expressed this between the two of them and said, "Well, how about it?" So we got them to sit there and do a little exercise where they just sort of express themselves in a certain way, and then they really, they were connected, but not, as you said, Izzy, not really connected on a level that they understood each other, and it got to a point where um, it really just opened up big time by doing that, which is fantastic. Where a lot of people don't actually do that. I get it. I got to learn to turn the phone off, don't I? But it just comes down to, yeah, really, it gets to a point where a lot of people get burnt by previous relationships, and they've got to realize that you can't you can't take those things into a new relationship. You've got to try and you know shake it off and say, okay, this person is not this type of is not like my ex. We hope they're not like your ex or the previous exes. Otherwise, then there's another thing we need to talk about because you're attracting the same kind of people and you need to find out why that is happening. So we don't want to do that. And that's where I suppose you're sort of like, well, do I express this or I do express that? And that's a good thing. You really need to sort of um, and it is something that you need to talk about earlier on because a lot of people don't. And they think that by having conversations like that, you're like, oh, am I making it formal? Well, no, because you people are not a mind reader. You're not a mind reader of them. They're not a mind reader of you. I mean, this couple as well that have run love them more. Um, she when she wrote in, she sort of said to me that they've been together a year or two, but also her partner works away a lot. So when we discussed it, it was more that probably only been together about 4 to 6 months. Where over length it was about 15 months, but really time spent together was about 4 to 6 months because he'd be away for a bit with her work. She traveled a lot as well. She worked for an airline and moved around a bit. So it just got a bit tough to really sort of, connect. And that's where it's like, okay, well, maybe this is where we need to sit down and go, hey, this is how it works, sort of thing. But it is a good point, Isabel. I think it's a great idea. So, hey, Brianne, Brie, how are we? Good to have you here. I'm single and I buy myself flowers. Exactly. Exactly. Now, I'll bring that up right now, Brie, because I think that is a fantastic idea. If you do that, what you're saying is, I don't need someone to buy things for me or do things for me. But if they do, it's an added bonus. And also, they can see and they'd go, who bought you the flowers? And you're like, oh, I did. Huh? You bought yourself. That's a nice thing. I like having flowers. I like them. And they're like, yes, nice. Note to self, she likes flowers. There's 2 sets there. She likes ones with yellow and yeah, okay, cool. great point. And one of the things, going back to what you said, Isabel, is some people don't connect sometimes because they don't open up enough early on. As I said, due to past relationships and everything else, that can happen, and that can be an issue as well. But also, well, there are some people, I'm not going to say one particular sex or another, but yeah, some people don't take a lot of notice and they need to be told. So it is a good point to point them out and sort of say, yeah, okay, that's fair enough. But it is a good idea. You buy yourself flowers, you buy stuff for yourself, Breezy. It's a great idea. And they can take notes from that, or they can ask you about it. And if they ask you about it, then you go, okay, they're taking notice. They're interested. If they're not, you sort of think, wonder why they've never asked that. Wouldn't they be curious that maybe it's from somebody else? Not that you want them to be a jealous type, but it's like, it doesn't hurt to ask questions. If they're not asking a lot of questions, you sort of think, why? Are they not interested in me as much as I think they are? So, yeah, quite possibly. What have I got here? Agree. That's why it's good to have time by yourself, work on yourself, and then be ready to meet someone new. It's not fair to bring your baggage into a new relationship. Sort it out first. Isabel, you must have been listening to a conversation I had this morning, because that was exactly what the conversation was about. Someone I'm getting to know. We both had that discussion and sort of said, well, there are a lot of people like that, and that was one of the big things I was quite happy with. This person had been through a lot of stuff, and both of us have been, but not bringing that in. And sometimes it's good to have a bit of a break in between your last relationship and this relationship, which with Love and More, I think there hasn't been. She has had a bit of a break, but it sounds like her new partner has not. And there's reason for that. I'm not going to go into details about that sort of thing, but there are reasons. But I do agree that sometimes you need to have a break, and you need to have a break where you just, even if it's 6 to 12 months, you've got to learn to not just be alone. Because when you say that you're going to learn to be alone, well, no, I don't want to be alone. It's not that, but you need time to be you. You need time to figure yourself out, understand what you like and don't like. And it's amazing when you do get that time yourself, or you're living by yourself, and you start to do things and go, you know what? I'm loving this. I'm now starting to get a routine. I like this. I like that. I'm starting to find what I like and don't like. And when you've been in relationship after relationship after relationship, you start to forget who you are, because you've spent so much time in other relationships and pleasing others, or trying to do what's right for others, that it's got to a point where it's a little bit of a struggle to go, do you really like that? Really? Or were you liking that because they liked it? And then you like that because the one before liked it. And you can like stuff that they like, but you've got to ask yourself, do you really like it, or were you just liking it because they liked it? And you're like, because I've had clients that I've worked with that when they've separated, I've gone, well, did you like this and did you like that? And they went, you know what? No, I did it because it was something that interested that person, and I thought, well, I'll give it a go, and I did it, and I did all right. But no, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore, that sport or whatever that hobby was. I'm actually quite relieved that if I don't see another whatever that was for the rest of my life, I'll be happy. And that's where when you say stuff like that, you go, so you made a couple of decisions there that you may not have wanted to make in the first place, which is a good thing to sort of discover. And you can only discover that when you've got some time by yourself. If you've got kids, same thing. Just getting back in touch with your kids and just starting to love you. Get out there. Look, what Breezy said before, buy yourself some flowers, buy yourself some chocolates, buy yourself a hot dress, go out somewhere, or a hot suit if it's the guys, and just go out somewhere and, feel good about it. And not even like meeting, or you might meet people and they're like, wanting to hook up now, and you walk home because you've been out, you've taken full control, you're looking your best, you've gone out, had a good time, and you've come home, you haven't brought anyone in, and you're like, you know what? I can do this. I've got this. Because then when you start to get into that position where you feel more comfortable, then when someone comes into your life, you don't need them to be a part of your life. You don't have to have them part of your life, but it's sure damn nice to have them. And as we talked about on Sunday Night Show, it's they complement you more than complete you. And that's what we need to look at. So in regards to love and more, you need to sit down or sit in the car or go for a drive or go for a walk, but you need to have a conversation where you just go, right, I want to do stuff. I like to do stuff for you. I like to spoil my man or my girl or whoever it is. I love to spoil my partner. What do you enjoy? What things would you buy yourself that you go, yeah, I like that? Or is it food? Is it a treat? Is it flowers, chocolates? Is it a game? Is it something techie? Is it great lights or whatever it is? But don't be afraid to ask them that, because you're not going to learn if you don't ask. And if they go, oh, I don't know, well, let me know when you do, because I'm going to get you stuff, and I'm going to do it because you're my girl or my guy, and I just need to do that. And I'm not doing it to win you over. I'm not doing it to earn brownie points. I like to spoil the person I'm with. So if I can do that and you can tell me what stuff you like, well, then it makes it a lot easier. And I'll tell you. Then you're not getting, surprises where you get it and you go, oh, that's lovely. A bottle of water. Oh, because I drink a lot of water. Oh, that's an unusual birthday present, but thank you. I'll just put that over here, and yeah, thank you. No, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that, do you? No, not at all. So, okay. Yes, me too, Brianna. I buy flowers on a fortnightly basis. There we go, Isabel. That's why you're always so happy. You don't need somebody else. That smile, Jesus, lights, it's pretty damn bright. And you to do that, then you don't need anyone. So anyone doesn't. It's like, oh, that's nice. I didn't have to do it for a change. So it's quite a good thing. So it's about yes. It's about I buy mine from Aldi. Lasts for ages. Now I don't know if because Breezy, you're up on the Gold Coast in Queensland, and Isabel's in Scotland. Am I right? I don't know. Do you guys have Aldi in Scotland, Isabel? I know that Aldi is European, but I don't know if they're everywhere. That's ALDI, not AUDI, the car, but the grocery store, the cheap grocery store. But hey, Bree, it doesn't matter where you get the flowers from. They're flowers. As long as they look good. It's not like Aldi's flowers, they're all dead. So it doesn't matter where you get them from, but it's a nice touch, am I right? So, another Isabel. Hey, Izzy, how are you? Look, it's getting out of control. Isabel's my this Isabel that we're talking to is my hairstylist, and she's probably going crazy right now, going, "Oh my God, look at his hair," because it's out of control. Yes, well, because we're still in lockdown, we can't really do much about getting a haircut right now, so it's a bit crazy. So, but anyway, but thanks for joining us, Isabel. We've got two Isabels tonight. We got Isabel from Melbourne. We got Isabel from Scotland. Yes, it is it's hang on, there we go. Yeah, they're everywhere. They're a German company. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Of course, yes. And Isabel, I can see it. Yeah, I know and it took me like 20 minutes to get it this good. So, but yeah, I might have to ring you in somehow to or meet in a quiet place to get it done. Because if they don't let us out soon, it's getting ridiculous. So yeah, it's crazy sort of thing. But communication is a big thing, guys. It really is. And it up until recently, I would say it's the number one reason for failed relationships, like for relationship breakup. There is a new contender in that, though, which we may discuss in another show. Maybe I might even discuss that on Sunday night because thanks to Izzy in Scotland will know who I'm talking about. Miss Patty actually brought it up one day, and I went and did some research, and it's right. So if you're thinking that communication is the number one thing for failed relationships, there's actually something even worse than that that's causing a lot of relationship breakdown. But we will get into that at another time. So, but let me jump across. We've got two questions. Well, I had a stack of questions sent in this week then from last week that everyone sent in. But I picked two because they're actually quite good. So, where are we? Okay, here's the second question for tonight's Ask Jay. I've talked to a guy for approximately 4 months over text, and we both seem to like each other. But now he has changed his whole Tinder, adding more profiles, pictures, etc. What does it mean? Should I stop texting him? Over before it began. Well, Miss Over before it began. I guess right now, texting is the way people are going because you can't see each other, and it makes it very difficult. The problem with texting is there's no tonality, so you can't tell what sort of tone they're using when they say certain things in text. Two, it depends on a lot of issues I'm hearing a lot of singles that are struggling with at the moment when it comes to online dating and so forth is they're getting on online profiles and they're actually seeing profiles where people are saying, yes, I'm ready for a relationship or whatever else. And they text them and they take a week to get back. And they're like, what's going on? Why am I, they'll text once and then they'll reply and then they're waiting and they're like, all they said was, great, how are you doing? Or thanks for reaching out or whatever they've said. And they're not getting a reply. Now, what that says sometimes says that they're probably talking to multiple people and there's one or two that they're actually really connecting with. So it could be that. Now, if it's on Tinder and he's doing that, there's got to be something going on. And I don't mean in a bad way. I'm not criticizing the guy because you didn't have a lot of information above what you sent me in regards to this. But you've got to ask, maybe there's something they're not feeling. They might like you. They might think, yeah, this person's good. But they're like, I just don't know. And because so many people take so long to reply to their dating apps responses, it's getting to a point where, yeah, most guys and girls are, all genders are virtually just, texting 3 or 4 people and talking to 3 or 4 people at a time because they're trying to get an understanding. Well, this person's taken so long, and I want to. And it depends on how keen the person is who starts it as well. And are they asking, or are you asking the correct questions? Because it is a bit of a struggle where you might think, well, I'm talking to him, but are you just having chit chat about like the weather and the COVID stuff and everything else? Are you actually, really having a conversation and getting to know them? Because that's the other thing you need to ask yourself as well. Is that, are you having deep move? And if you're not getting much from texting, this is something I say, is if you've got them on a social media like Facebook or something like that, or maybe say to them, do you want to chat on the phone and use WhatsApp or some apps like Bumble and that, and I don't know about Tinder. I think Tinder's got it. You can call them using the app, so you call them through the app, so they don't see your number because the number's hidden within the app. You can call them and chat. That's, I find, is a better way. I'm some people are a little bit nervous about it, but if you're texting someone and then they're texting back, depending on the rate, and I did send a reply back to Over before it's begun to ask them how long this has been going for. and how like between texts are they? And I haven't had a response yet, but I would be finding out if it's really sporadic and it's been going on for a couple of weeks. I'd be going, look, just check it in if you're keen, because I'm not going to waste my time. Or you can do what most people do and they just stop talking to them, which is, it's sad. It's kind of, I sort of think you have the respect to sort of go, well, hey, I need to, I want to, at least give them a chance because I really like them. But if they're not willing to play along and they're not doing that, maybe it's, it's like time to just move on. So, because if they're changing the Tinder profile, the amount of times I hear, and look, I'm going to be brutally honest, the amount of times I hear girls dating guys and then they email me and say, well, he's updated his profile, but we're doing really well. And I go, that's a red flag. Seriously, that is a red flag for me. If you're dating someone and they're still updating their profile pictures on whatever dating app it is, what's going on here? What's going on between us two, right? Because if we're doing all right, or are they doing all right, like okay, but they're just sussing out if there's something better. And then again, and I will say this: it does not mean you're no good. It may mean that you're good, but you're not the great they're looking for. And it's not saying, and you just may not be what they're after, but they like you. You're a great person. They love your person. Look, haven't you ever met someone where great personality and you've really got along, but there's one thing that's really bugged you that you've gone, no, it's not going to work. We laugh, we have a fun time, but I'm not physically attracted to them, or physically attracted to them, but the conversation is just like, hello, anyone there? Or it might be a bit of both, but it's too far away. They live too far, a couple of 100 kilometers, maybe a couple of 1,000 kilometers. Maybe it'll be a long distance relationship. Who knows? And but it just comes down to, are they really who you are? It's like a pair of shoes. You get a pair of shoes. They might look great, but you put them on and they give you blisters. You might put them on and you go, well, yeah, they're okay, but I'm not going to wear them every day. They're good to run in occasionally, but if I run like 3 or 4 times a day, they're really hurting the soles of my feet. Things like that. And sadly, it is a numbers game. A conversation I had with a client recently was saying that sometimes they've been in relationships where the person they've just been there. They're like, well, they've chased me and they've really gone to the effort to make it. So, oh yeah, I'm single. Why not? Well, why not? Because if it doesn't build on that, you're going to be in a relationship where you're just going to be like, yeah, they're okay, but I like this one over here. Now, is that the grass is greener on the other side, or they actually do like them because of this person? Why are you there? Don't use someone as a fill-in. If you really have, they're okay and they're all right and I like them, but this drives me nuts or that drives me nuts. You've got to have a clear set of boundaries and foundations of what you really want and stick to that. I'll tell you now, you can't fail if you stick to that. Yes, you're going to go, meet a lot of people and just go, I don't know. But you don't want to just settle, because if you're just settling for whoever's there, that's because you just want anyone. You got a heartbeat? Yeah, you'll do. Come on, coming home with me. That's it. You don't want to do that. You want quality over quantity. I mean, so yeah, quality over quantity. God, I think I thought I said it the wrong way then. But you do. You want a quality relationship, and don't just base it on the sex. I'll tell you right now, because sex is good, but eventually, when that's not happening, if you're not having a conversation, it's done. And I think that's the reason why a lot of relationships struggle, because they do just settle for people that are there. And even when I think about it, when I was organizing this afternoon and going through these questions, I just sort of went, yeah, I could name probably 20 25 clients I've had over the last 10 years, that is the case. They've said, oh, well, I met him through a friend and he was all right. Or, yeah, she was okay. She moved me online and she just kept texting me. And I went, what the hell? But they weren't ever really in the relationship. They were there just for the sake of just having someone there. But at the same time, they're looking at other people and flirting with other people. Like, why are you there? I even had to pull it up with a session one time. I just went, okay. Can we just go back a sec? Because I have couple sessions sometimes where I have both people. And I spend like 45 minutes with one. Then the other one will jump on online. They'll jump on the camera and the other one will go to the room. And I'll just say, hey, and I'll spend 45 minutes with them and then I'll bring them in together. And before I brought them in together, right at the end of talking to the second one, I found out that she just went, no, well, he was like a one-night stand that didn't go away. And I went, well, what the heck? He's good in the sack. Yeah, I kind of like him. And it's like, kind of? You spend like, $250,000 in a house because you kind of like it? No. You renovate it. You don't spend, you can spend $50,000 on a car if you kind of like it. You're like, nah, I want that. You're not going to spend it, $200 on a dress or a suit, or $500 or even $1,000. Say $1,000, because we got young Isabel from Scotland here, who's a designer, and let's say you're not going to spend a couple of thousand on a good outfit if you kind of like it, will you? Huh? Right? So, and yes, that is a monetary value, but at the same time, it's still a value when you're with them, because you're spending all that time. You might spend 6, 12, 18 months with that person. And then you're like, and then what? You're like, oh, yeah, they were right. They were just a fill-in for the time. Nah. And it's getting that way, because I hear a lot of people that will say, oh, well, my partner's all right, but I could leave it. I had someone say this to me about 18 months ago. Yeah, I could leave it though and find something better. I'll just get on Tinder, or I'll get on an app and I'll find someone straight away. I'll replace her in seconds. And I just went. And this one, I wasn't working with him. So let me be straight with that. I was not working with him. This was in a conversation in a workplace I was doing a review over. And when he said that to me, I just went, okay. Well, it's nice chatting to you, man. I'm going to head down the other end now, and we'll talk soon. And I just walked away shaking my head going, dude, you're going to be a very lonely guy in quite a few years' time. So let me just jump in and check some of these comments, because it's starting to go crazy now when everyone's jumping in and having a look at what's happening. So here we got Isabel. I can see it. Yes, that was the last one. Kenny, how are you? I like the New York backdrop. Your set looks better. I love the new overlays. Thank you, buddy. I've been trying to contact you. I don't know what's going on with you, but you're hiding. You're hiding, because I haven't been able to contact you for a couple of days. So, but I thought you'd like it. And it was a suggestion by a young lady I've been talking to, who just went, what happened to your old backdrop? Where's that? And I had it all behind here. So I've moved to the backdrop and got some lights there. So thank you for that. Marky Webb, how are you going, buddy? Thank you very much for tuning in from the UK. Good to see you here. There's always been a backstory, as you have no idea what's going on. Give him the benefit of the doubt until you find out otherwise. That is true, Ken, but at the same time, when he's changing his dating profile, my question is, what reason does he have to be changing his dating profile when he's with someone? So he started dating her. They're dating, but they're texting a lot. So they really haven't settled down. But if she's saying, do I need to text? Should I continue texting? And my thing is, I would be pulling him up and saying, hey, are you still interested? Because I know you've updated your profile and your pictures. If you're not, I don't want my time wasted, and I don't want to waste your time. It's setting some clear boundaries and saying, hey, I'm okay, we're texting, but don't waste my time. If you're updating your profile, best to leave it alone, man. Just, I'll go on to somebody else, So keep that in mind as well. Mr. Weber, Paul Weber, how how are you, Mr. Audio? I need to speak to you about my audio too, but that's another time. We're talking relationships tonight, but so good to see you on here, buddy. Thank you very much. Look who's on. What's going on with the profiles? It's not actually putting their profile pictures up. Miss Archer, how are you tonight? Nice to see you. You poor thing. You've just gotten up real early to join the show. So hopefully you're still in bed. You're not actually up because you need some sleep. But it's good to have you on there. Thank you very much. Kenny, did you launch a course on podcasting? Are you asking me, Kenny, or are you asking somebody else? Because I have no idea what you're talking about. So maybe you're talking to Mr. Weber. So, Mr. Weber, are you holding me accountable? Not yet. I'm launching. Oh, okay. So you two are talking amongst each other. All right. Good to see. So, yes, Sandy. Hi, Kat and Paul. Nice to see. Most new relationships are long-term relationships in this current environment. Well, it is starting to get that way, but I'm still not convinced. I think, look, it depends on where you are in the world. There are some that are starting to look that way because of situations. They're actually getting to know each other a lot more than because they haven't been able to see each other due to restrictions or whatever, or time or distance or something like that. But they're getting to know each other more by talking more. And that's probably what's happening right now. This guy's probably talking to her, but he's talking to a couple of others. And also he's might be connecting. I know in my dating times, you get to meet, so you get to text someone and you're really connecting. And then you'd go, hey, do you want to talk? And some will go, no. And others will go, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm cool to talk. So you would call them and have a chat and you think, get along. And then you would meet them, or you'd have another one or two calls, and then there'd be something that just went, and it would just go, oh, okay. Yeah, no, something's changed there. And you're like, okay. And then you start talking to another. It's like, so it's sad. It's kind of like a numbers game, but when you're doing it on text, it's hard. There's no tonality. There's no feeling. There's no, seeing how they're reacting and stuff. It's words. And words are good, but when there's no meaning behind them, it's like, I love you, 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 I love you. But if you're not saying it with this, well, then you're not really saying it all. So that's the tough part about it. Marky Webb, how are we from Sandy? Hey, Sandy. Kenny, what do we got? No, not holding you accountable. It's just the suggestion made when we last spoke. Okay, so you guys having a good chin whack on. It's good. And Jax, good morning to you. Now I know you're up early because thank you very much for joining me. So it's good to have you here. Paul, down the road here in Melbourne, Australia. Good to have you on here. Looking very fine there dapper in your profile picture. And that's on YouTube. For some reason, Facebook's profiles are not coming through tonight, so I can't always see everyone's names. Production is looking schmick. Thank you. We're getting there. Week by week, we're adding a little bit. I had a little bit of a touch. Had a special surprise arrive in the mail today. Yesterday, I was on the phone to Ozpost going, I didn't order these, and then found out that someone else had ordered them for me. It's a bit hard to see with the light on, but you'll see that there's a bit of a color around the edge. I suppose if you go up the top, you'll see it a little bit more. There's a couple of colors going on up there. So we're still playing around, but we're getting the mood right, getting it set. So I appreciate you guys and girls all dropping in and giving some feedback and noticing that. So thank you very much. Really appreciate it. So how are you all going with your relationships? What's going on for you guys at the moment? Because I know there's a lot of you in different parts of the world are coming out of lockdown. Some are going into lockdown. How's the situation where you are for 2020? How is that going right now? Because I'm getting a lot of different stories. Some I'm finding really right now are really connecting with people, like their partners and others, because they're, in that situation. Well, they're going to they have to now, because if they're in a lockdown or they're both working from home, they're really, really connecting and understanding, and they're spending a lot more quality time with each other and stuff. There's others where as soon as they get a chance, they're going in the opposite directions, and not just in separation, but even just to get away from each other. Like, I'm going for a girls' weekend away when this all ends, or guys' weekend away, because they just need some space. Because it's always good to have some time for yourself. Now, we mentioned before that uh, who was it that said just earlier on tonight? Said something about uh, getting to know yourself and do things for yourself. And it is a good thing, because you need your time to yourself to just potter around, do things, sit around or read, or just stuff for yourself. And a lot of that needs to happen, and it's a lot of people are finding they can't do that right now. So I'm even suggesting to a couple of couples that I've been talking to at the moment to, maybe one sits at the front of the house and one sits down the back of the house, or out the back patio if weather permits, and just, or one getting outside and one inside, and just, give the other person a break while they're out there. Just say, look, I'm going out for half an hour, meaning I'm going out the backyard, and they're telling them that, like, don't come and bother me. And it's not being rude. It's just saying, I need some me time. I need to just focus on me. I need to go and do stuff just where I don't have to put up with children or partners or whatever. It might be just sit there and take a bit of sun in and just clear your mind. Maybe a bit of meditation. Maybe it might be you just don't want anyone nagging, complaining, talking. Because again, like the first question, you've got to communicate certain things. There are some people, like, when they wake up in the morning, they're like, and you're like, oh God, shut up. I haven't had my coffee yet. Just let me have my coffee. Well, yeah, I suppose you can have coffee in a mug. You might want a bit of coffee to start your day. There are some people, when they get home from work, they want, a partner of mine in the past, we made a like a rule that when we left work, we wouldn't talk about work on the way home from work, or if I'd got home earlier, it was, she'd walk in, say hi, that's it. Don't say much else. For about an hour, we agreed on that. Was she would pour her wine, she would sit down and watch. At the time, there was a show called Family Feud on. Let her watch her feud, have a wine, go and have a shower straight after, and then, because she worked in an environment where she was dealing with people all day, and she just did not want to talk when she got home. She was just like, please. And I was the same. Some days I get home and it'd be a busy day, and you get home and you're like, oh, I don't want to talk about anything right now. Just can I just have half an hour on the couch? Or I just go and kick my shoes off and clothes off, go and have a shower, come out, pour a drink or some water, or just sit down out on the balcony and just watch the sun go down for half an hour. And then the other one would come out and go, hey, how you doing? And you're fine. Just that breathing time. They're the things a lot of people, I recommend a lot of you guys and girls to do right now. If you're in a situation where you are stuck in the same house, and you're both working from home, you need it. I'm not saying you should kind of do it. I'm saying you really freaking need to do it. It doesn't matter how much you love someone. You always need to have you time. You need time away from everyone else where you can just declutter the head, shut things out. If it's a meditation. If it's whatever else station you want, whatever, just do that though. But I highly recommend it, because and if any of you are watching who have got other ideas on how to do that, please put them in the comments so everyone can see them and get other ideas, because I can't, it's not always about what I think. You guys have got ideas. I want to hear what your ideas as well, because there's a lot of people that would appreciate knowing that they're not the only ones in that situation as well. So what do we got coming up here? I like that. A little at a time. It's a marathon. Yeah, exactly, man. That was in regards to this. Yes, I realised what we're talking about now. So I'm feeling very disconnected from everyone. Looking forward to some freedom soon, I hope. Yeah, exactly. Polly, but you want to get out? Still waiting to catch up for a walk. So, yeah, what should you, buddy? What should you? No excuses, man. No excuses. Isabel, I think that's a good thing. Lockdown has revealed a lot of truth about ourselves and our choices and decisions. I'm pausing for that because, listen, I think that's a good thing. Lockdown has revealed a lot of truth about ourselves and our choices and decisions in life. I don't know about you, but that's probably one of, and this is not to take it away from anyone else, but that's probably one of the best comments of the night. And the reason why I say that is it's revealed a lot of truths about ourselves and our choices and decisions in life. Doesn't matter if you're in a relationship or you're not in a relationship. You are being put in positions that you never thought you'd have to be. You were forced to make decisions about stuff that you've probably been putting off for a while. Here in Australia, a big push has been for a lot of places not using cash money anymore. And I'm getting to this, and there is a relationship-based thing here, but a lot of people are becoming, getting to a point where they don't want cash, they want card. And there was talk that they were going to do this eventually in 5 to 7 years, maybe. Because of COVID, they're doing it now. I mean, my neighbor next door, she works for a bank, and over half their branches have shut. She's been transferred to about 4 or 5 different branches, going left, right, and center, because they're now, even the branches she's going to are not open. They're actually call centers. They're turning branches into call centers because it's just the way it's going right now. And this is the same with a lot of this stuff. There's been a lot of relationships right now that are coming to an end. And it's because they're wanting to make decisions earlier on and just went, oh no, I'll just see how it goes, see how it goes. Boom! They're stuck in the house with a person. And if they needed any proof if they should stay or should they go, this has helped them make their decision. This has helped a lot of people make decisions for themselves. It's really forced us as a human race to really start to look at ourselves, look at what time we're wasting. I mean, if you've been in lockdown, you'll notice, okay, if you're still getting paid and you're still working, you will notice you've probably got, quite possibly, more money in your account than you did ever before, because you can't go out for coffees. You can't go out for meals and dinners and stuff like that that you would normally go for. You're not going out to movies. You're not going out to a lot of things that you used to do. Yeah, you got Netflix, but you probably had Netflix before and watched it once or twice, and went to the movies. But now everything's on Netflix, so you're home. So you're not using fuel as much. You're not using money on coffee and takeaways and dinners out and everything else. And that is having a massive impact on people, because people are like, well, yeah. And it's starting to get in touch with you, because all these relationship questions we've discussed tonight all have one common denominator. And you all know what I'm about to say, don't you? Which is yourself. So, if someone is not texting you and and they're changing the profile picture, you can either wait on them, or you can make a decision and do what you need to do. Contact them. Are we serious, or is this going anywhere? Because I see you've updated your profile. I'd be going, dude, obviously you're not keen. I'm out of here. And that's where you've got to really think hard and long about the responsibility you take. And that's where, as Isabel's saying here, a lot of people are starting to realize some cold, hard truths. But at the same time, it's good to do it now. It's good to do it now because, 2021, pray to the gods of the universe or whoever you pray to that it's not like this year. Even though I'm thinking the virus doesn't know what year it is and it's going to hang around for a while, but I just hope that we get through a lot of this at the end of this year and we can start next year. If we're going to start next year like this year, well, then maybe everyone needs to, again, take responsibility and go, okay, if this is to continue next year, I don't want next year to be like this year. What can I do different within the rules and regulations, within what is happening, to at least be prepared for next year and make sure it's not as crappy as this year? Do I need to make a routine that I call one different person a week on a video call that I haven't spoken to for a while? Do I need to go and clean out my wardrobe and start fresh? Do I need to, whatever it is, you are in control of that. It's up to you, no one else. You can say, oh, well, I've got to take this person into consideration, that person into consideration. You still need to make that decision, though. It's still up to you to make those decisions. You can't make it for them, but you can make it for you. And if they don't want to play along and they've got a different decision, let them deal with their decision. But don't say, well, I can't do it because they won't do it. You're not glued together. You are a couple, but at the same time, you're going to live a life you're not going to live because they don't want to do it. And that is another one of those truths that people are starting to realize. It's a good point. It's probably one of the best points I've seen tonight. So good call, Isabel. I think it's a fantastic point that you've brought up. So thank you. Sandy, I would rather be alone than dating the wrong person just for the companionship. Been learning that last year. Yeah. That's actually, it was kind of like a theme for me for many years. I'd rather be single and happy than be with someone and be unhappy. And then I was in a relationship, and a friend of mine who also used it, she said the same thing. And then she was like, oh, I don't know about that. And I went, well, because you're in a relationship that you're really happy with. But if you think of the other relationships you had that weren't happy, that's where that theory came from. But you have chosen what you want. The guy you're with right now, he's what you wanted. Because remember, we had that conversation, which we did. We had that conversation where we said, what do you want in someone? Okay, I don't want what he was like, and I don't want what he liked, and I don't want what he was like. Great. Let's do a list of what we don't want, and then I'm going to write the opposites of those on the other side, and I'm going to hold it up to you. And I'd hold it up to her, and I'd go, how's that look? And she'd go, I like that list. And I went, right. So I tore it down the middle. That was what she liked. I said, you take that. What you don't like, no more. We're not going to focus on what you don't like anymore. Nope. No focusing on what you don't like anymore. We're going to focus on the list of what you do like. All right? I want you to stick that up on a mirror at home or wherever you're going to see it every day. Don't just hide it and go, oh, I'm going to put it behind a door or something. No. It's got to be somewhere. If you're on the toilet and it's on the wall in front of you in the toilet, just go there every day. Or if it's above your kitchen cupboard, above your stove, or if it's on your fridge, I want you to stop and look at it because I want you to get it into your subconscious, the things that you do like. All right? And then this guy come out of nowhere. She was working with him, but he worked in another department on the other side of the store. She's spoken to him a couple of times. Never even thought anything about it. And then all of a sudden, after she did that list with us, about 2 weeks later, she bumped into him. She was leaving one afternoon. They got talking. And then she was like, she drove home and she rang me. She said, you know that list we did? I went, yeah. She went, she's just been talking to one of the guys at work that I've talked to a few times. And I went, I've never realized he's got some qualities that I like. And I went, some? And she went, well, I only just noticed since we've done the list. She kept notice of that for the next 4 weeks talking to him. and now they've been together, living together in a house she's bought, and got a dog together, and are really happy and have been together for a couple of years now. But it was because she was clear on what she wanted and clear what she didn't want. So that's why if you'd rather be single and happy than being in a relationship and unhappy, you then got to realize, what is it you want? Do you want the bad boys? Do you want the good boys? Do you want the bad girls? Do you want the good girls? Do you want the narcissists? Do you want the liars? Do you want the cheaters? Or do you want some good quality people that are going to make an effort to enjoy getting to know you and you getting to know them, no matter where they are or what obstacles you have? Because sometimes they might not be in the next suburb. Maybe they're in the next town or even the next country, whatever. But you can make it work if you really want. So you've really got to get clear on what you want. So it is a bloody good point, Sandy, and I'm proud of you to actually realize that and discover that as well about yourself as well. Absolutely, Sandy. Me too. There you go. You're not alone there. What we got here? Jax, the news told me yesterday that the stress of COVID is making people lose their hair from the system shock. Wow. That's heavy. Yeah. Wow. Wouldn't be the only thing, though, you would think. When you think about how the body reacts, it'd be shock of, it'd be loss of hair. I would say there'd be, a lot of people get stress rashes because they're stressing out about things and stuff. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to get a lot of vitamin D deficiency. They're not getting out in the sun because if they're inside all day and they're not allowed out, and then when you're allowed out, you're going to cover up, you're going to have your masks and everything else. A lot of you guys are coming out of summer where we're heading towards summer. But I know myself, it was 27 degrees Celsius here last weekend. And young Paulie would know this. I think Saturday and Sunday were like 26 and 27 or 28 on the Saturday, Sunday. Then Monday, it was 11 degrees with a low of 9. And then Tuesday was 12 or 13 degrees. So it plummeted. But then they're talking about hitting 24, 25 again this weekend. So it's great to have warm weekends if you can actually enjoy it. But yeah, there is a lot of things we need to look after ourselves, as Jax has just pointed out. It's affecting people's health, their stress levels. It's affecting a lot of different areas. I know it's affecting sex lives because people are so stressed they're not in the mood for it. They're not in the mood to be romantic and everything else, because being romantic sometimes was going and doing something or taking them to dinner or going for a walk, and because some of them are not allowed out, that's not going well, and that's why that's happening. So exactly, Sandy. I'll make a list. Good idea. Oh, really? Okay, well, good for you. Good for you. She's going to make a list of what she wants and doesn't want. So, yeah, it's a good idea, Sandy. I totally agree, because there's a lot of people that they don't know what they want. And that's why they just settle for whoever comes along. You gotta stop settling, especially right now. Okay, if we're going to take one tip out of 2020, my tip is really get clear on what you want and who you are. Because we have taken, and I don't mean to say that we, on a conscious level, we've done this, but we have taken advantage of being able to do whatever we want when we want. We've taken advantage of being able to go and get a coffee whenever we want, or go to dinner, or catch up with friends, or having a guy or a girl's night out, or going to the movies, or visiting friends in another state or even another country. And we've had all those rights stripped of us at one point or other because we have not been able to go anywhere. So if anything, you want to take one tip out of 2020 is maybe start to appreciate who we actually do have in our lives and what we have. And what we have in ourselves. A bit of self-exploration doesn't hurt. You get to an understanding of, what you like and don't like. and really, even go through your social media and, the stuff that you might have liked 2 or 3 years ago. And you're like, I keep getting these on my unfollow. People you haven't spoken to in years, and you might have 2,000 friends, and you're like, really? I talked to about 50 of them. About 200 I'll keep because they're all people that I have commented on or talked to in the last 2 years. The other 1,800, if you've got a business page, send them to your business page. And just, it's sometimes it's pointless having quantity when you can say, well, I have all these friends, but I really don't have anyone close to me. You know what I mean? I don't have all these people and everything, but I feel the loneliest right now. Because I know people who have said that to me. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Not that I haven't contacted. I've contacted them because they've said, apart from you, there's hardly not many people reaching out right now. And we all say, oh, why don't they reach out to us? Because, again, like we've said before, what they don't want to bother you with their burden. They don't want to bother you with their issues and stuff. So they just stick to themselves. And there's a lot of extroverts turning into introverts. There's a lot of introverts that are loving it, but also are going a bit nuts as well being introverts because they never thought they'd be this introverted, and it's doing them harm. And as Jack said, it's affecting people's health. They're losing hair. They're probably, getting skin conditions and stuff like that, being inside, not getting enough vitamin D. So we really need to assess who we are as a person. Does that make sense? Hope it does. I've babbled enough tonight. I don't think we got many more. Sandy's the last one to leave a comment there. She's going to go off and make a list. Good for you, girl. Very proud of you. Apart from that, I only wanted to cover the 2 questions tonight. And if any of you guys have got any questions, please feel free to drop me. I think I've got it here, or have I not got it here? Hang on a sec. Let me. Well, you're on the socials at the moment. If you want to send me a question, by all means, DM me. Well, you can email me at jjay at Jayson Mair, J-A-Y, Jason with a Y, Mair.com, or you can get me on the socials, Facebook, YouTube. Just drop us a comment and put the question in there, and we'll definitely look after, get to that question. And if you want to be anonymous, tell me you are. If you're not, if you don't want to put it in the comments, like I said, just DM me, and we'll definitely attend to it. And I'm going to be putting more points up next week. I did have some points written down, and then I accidentally left it down the other end. I raced to start the show because I was running a minute late. So, but I kind of remembered what they were anyway. So, but we'll get a bit more detailed into it. But for each of you, thank you very much for joining in. We will finish up soon. What have we got? I'm feeling lonely, but I'm glad to have you to keep me calm. Jax. Mwah. Sending you a big hug and kiss. What's this? Big hug and kiss. You're a great person. You really are. You've got a very lively personality, and you're fantastic. I really appreciate you jumping on and your feedback and everything else. See, I've been listening. I've been making some changes. So don't worry, we listen. But so we will wrap up tonight with a little bit of lighthearted Seussisms. And I was supposed to put this up on the screen as well. Tonight I'm going to read it to you. Next week you'll get to see it on the screen. So where are we? This is a perfect one. This really is. It's called Surround Yourself with Good People, right? But the yeps on the steps, they're great fun to have around. And so are many, many, many other friends that I have found. And that's from There's a Wocket in My Pocket. So on that note, if no one else has anything else to say, we're going to wrap this up for tonight's Ask Jay. Thank you very much to each and every one of you for tuning in tonight. Thank you to each and every one of you that have been leaving comments. And if you haven't, and I've got to remember to say this, if you have not hit the subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube and have not hit the subscribe button, hit that subscribe button. You know, I've got more subscribers in the last 2 weeks than I have in the last 2 years. So I thank you to each and every one of you that has been subscribing and hitting the bell for notifications when we come up. I'm getting to a point where I'll actually have it scheduled each week. So you'll see it, you'll get a notification before we get started. And by all means, we will get there. And we're fine tuning. As I said, this was a soft launch. And but to each and every one of you who spend an hour and 15 minutes with me tonight, thank you very much, because it means a lot to me, because I can't do this without you guys. I really can't. It's all about, you know, having you guys here. And as you can tell, next week we will back same bat time, same bat channel for 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, which I did type that last week, and I was prepared because it came up on Sunday. And that's why there's a bit of an hour difference for some of you folk, because it's actually, we've gone ahead an hour, which means it's earlier for you guys over there as well. So we got one more. Great show. Thanks, Izzy. Thank you very much for joining me too. You're a darling. So thank you for doing that and jumping in. So if anyone else doesn't have anything else to say, I'm going to wrap this baby up. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. And bit of tunes. We're going to leave you with it. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you Sunday night at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time. This time, Sunday night, for the Simplified Relationships show. I probably need to turn that music down a little bit. And that's probably a little bit better. But yeah, we'll see you Sunday night, same bat time, same base station, Sunday night for Simplified Relationships. All this time next week, next Wednesday. If you've got a relationship question, by all means, send it through to jay@jasonmair.com or DM me on the socials. And until next week, thank you very much for watching. And I will find what I'm looking for in a moment, wherever it is. I can't find it. And we'll finish up. Thank you, guys. Love you all. And we'll see you next week. Mwah. Take care. Bye.